Archangels, ghosts, and Bigfoot. Oh my. It's just another night for Supernatural Girls. Real stories, real answers to life's biggest supernatural mysteries. And now for another exciting interview with paranormal experts from this world and others. Here's your host, paranormal researcher Patricia Baker, on the one, the only Supernatural Girls.
Welcome, everyone, to another exciting episode of Supernatural Girls. I am your host, Patricia Baker, and I'm here with Miss PK, my co-host, all the way from very hot Tucson. But you are
Yes.
God bless you.
When they say it's hot stuff around here, they're not kidding.
No, they're not. Yes, yes. And it finally
Ay,
came
ay,
down
ay.
here, but it was rough for 3 weeks. We had terrible high temperatures, high humidity, and of course our upper level air conditioning system just stopped working. So
God is trying to make you get other things going for yourself, get you out of the house.
you know what? Really, except it was at night because the upper levels,
Oh,
that's where we sleep.
oh,
So
that's right. That's not fair.
I know, but it's okay now. They're fixed,
Good.
and now the temperatures are back down. We don't even need it. So
Kim planned it that way.
I guess, yes. But my goodness. So tell us, you have some exciting things to share about numerology.
Well, I've been taking a look at what we've been dealing with, the numbers. And as we know, the month of July, we want everything to be perfect. Everybody's looking for perfection. Well, let's face it, it doesn't exist. We can make it the best that it is. So by taking a look at the numbers, we can minimize some of the negativity and maximize the positive. And I think if we start taking a look at what's going on around us, it's going to make it a lot better. So if we take a look at like where we live, colors that are most important to us, our birthday with the given year or the given month that we're in, or the given day, all those things affect us. Think of it as we've come in here, we've got our own GPS to make it through the world.
Oh, nice.
I mean, after all, every little thing we do counts. The day
Yeah.
we're born, we get a number. We move to a house, we get a number. They get a social security card, we've got another number. My gosh, that child hasn't even had a chance to be out of its first diaper, and it's already had 3 numbers.
That's right.
So
That's right.
yes.
Gosh.
So I think that's something we ought to take a look at or look into for others.
I
What do you
agree.
think?
I agree. I think, what we're planning to do eventually is to offer an entire hour to people who
Mhm,
want to know how they can change their address and how
mhm.
that will affect their lives. And you and I were talking about my address, and it was so
Yes.
interesting. So I'm gonna start making that change you suggested, and then I'll
Mhm.
report back. And I know you gave a change to Lon, and I've got to talk
Yes.
to see if he did his. But there is so much to that, especially where you live. I mean, I'm here
Mhm.
almost all the time.
Well, that's it. We're camping here, regardless of where we go off to during the day. Our roots are right here where we live.
Yes, so the energy has to be harmonious,
Mhm.
so we're gonna have difficulties and obstacles in our path. So I'm very excited to see the changes that happen, and then we will invite everybody to join us when we are ready to do that entire segment on
Definitely.
your house number and how that affects you. And that also
Mhm.
can be done for apartments too.
Oh,
Is that
definitely. And it isn't just the building we live in. Apartments have a separate number on top of it. You may
that's
be living in a building that's fantastic for you, but the apartment sucks, or the
right?
other way around. So
Right.
you've got to know how to fix it.
That's right. I just
Mhm.
find that whole topic so fascinating. So we're gonna be announcing that soon, so everybody can
Good.
join in if they'd like. Yes. And I have to say something about what's been going on, this horrible assassination attempt
Oh,
on President Trump, but thank God he was protected by
definitely.
God. There is no question about that. And I don't know, watching all of these hearings, and this is such a huge conspiracy. It's not a conspiracy theory, in my opinion. This was a conspiracy. This was a coup. And it's such a big coup. They're having trouble covering it up.
Well, yes.
They
But, you
really
know I'm sorry, go ahead,
well, I
finish.
was just gonna say, I have to give kudos to TikTok. The
Mhm,
people on TikTok amaze me. I mean, they'll find somebody like now they're identifying the guy in the gray suit that
mhm,
went and had everybody take pictures of the dead shooter and then gave them a phone number to text them to. They thought he was Secret Service, but he wasn't.
mm-mm,
So I give him 24 hours. TikTok will find out who it is. I mean, it's just incredible the amount of networking. And then they were testing the acoustics of the bullets, and they came back with reports on all of that. And they've identified somebody who was sitting behind President Trump who was acting very suspicious,
mhm.
on and on. And it was funny when I was listening to the hearings, one of the congressmen said, I get better information from TikTok
Mhm.
than I do from you, Director of Secret Service. So,
Well, who is no longer there.
yeah, she left, thank goodness. But, it's just a testament, I think, to what can happen when people come together for the greater good. And they try to dig deep and find information, and they do the best they can to try and find out. Now they've been talking
Mhm,
about the shooter on the tower, the water tower, which
mhm.
was not acknowledged previously. It was the TikTok people who brought it up and said, "This looks like a guy on the water tower with a rifle. Take a look. There's an SUV below parked there. We hear he ziplined out of there into the woods and took off." They tracked the license plate. They tracked this guy. This was TikTok.
Incredible, isn't it? Absolutely incredible.
Him
But you know what? We have
impressed.
better information coming from John Q. Public than we do from the government,
We
and
really
that's
do.
sad.
It is terribly sad, and we can't trust what the government tells us anyways, as we all know. Look at what they
You've
did with the
noticed that, huh?
Mahomes. Oh,
Hmm.
yeah.
I'll
However,
be darned.
I mean, these folks on TikTok, I wanna hug them all because they're really trying to get this
Yeah.
information figured out, the word out, and I think that with the resources they have, they're doing a great job. So thank you, everybody on TikTok who's
Mhm.
participating in that investigation. You're doing
Yeah.
great.
We've got a lot of good people out there that are trying to make good things happen.
Yes.
Unfortunately, we've got a few on the fringes that are a pain where we sit, but they have
I
to be a part of it too, I'm afraid.
unfortunately, yes,
Mhm.
that's true. Well, we have great guests tonight now.
Yes, we do. Definitely.
This just an amazing man, and he has brought his partner with him tonight, and so we're gonna meet her in a minute, and I just wanna say a few words about our guest, Ed
Mhm.
Edwards. Now, as a young child, many of you have been with us on the show, and Ed has been here, and they know some of this information, that Ed inherited an energy gift from his grandmother. Now, Ed evolved that gift into a powerful resonance that people can use to heal themselves. Ed does not call himself a healer. However, he has been researched by many scientists who have determined that he works with several levels of consciousness simultaneously. Dr. Levengood, biophysics research, found that Ed trained his autonomic nervous system to interact with the ever shifting isomeric configurations called resonant energy that is in all living organisms. By attuning this resonance with a patient, he shifts the frequencies of their energy in a way that gives maximum benefit for healing. Through biofeedback mechanisms, he senses the changes in isomeric configurations and is able to shift to influence metabolic processes in a positive way at the quantum level. And it creates, in most cases, tingling, heat, and an awareness of energy flowing through the recipient's body or bodies. Dr. Levengood published his first peer reviewed paper about this energy with Ed's help in his lab, which is called Evidence for Charge Density Pulses Associated with Bioelectric Fields in Living Organisms. Now, Ed will do a live demonstration, as he always does for us. We love these live demonstrations because we can get
Definitely.
healing out of this. Yes. So we'll be doing that tonight. And I want to tell you a little bit about his partner, Laura. Now, Laura Rinaola is a med spa owner. She's owned a med spa for many, many years. And her focus is on finding a real treatment for rejuvenation. Now, Laura met Ed recently and feels that the photon work is a very important piece to the puzzle. So, Ed and Laura, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having us.
Hello, Patricia and PK. Good to see y'all again. How y'all
Nice
doing?
seeing you.
Yeah.
Been
Great.
ages.
For you. Yes, it's been too long. And Laura, lovely to meet you.
Definitely.
So you guys have been studied now. Even you, Laura, have been in the lab. So you have some interesting things to report. And certainly you have, Ed, some new reports that have been published about you. One from the Monroe Institute that I was just reading right before the show, which was quite interesting. And what I want to say about all of the research I've reviewed, PK, you have too,
Mhm.
is that it's consistent. I mean, it's consistent that you repeat it. You can do it the same way, the same every time, and it
Yeah.
can increase. You can make it, much stronger. And I think you have become much stronger since we originally met you years ago through George Lugo.
Right.
Your powers have increased tremendously, but it's consistent, and that's one of the things. One of the bugaboos of the paranormal is it's often very hard to get anything to be repeatable. But
True.
Yeah, it's that's the neat thing about it. They like when I go to the UVA labs or any of the labs they have me at, or the Ryan Research Center. We get positive data every time I go in there. I mean, my mechanism and what I'm doing is a real thing, and it's measurable. And like Dr. Levengood was the first scientist to measure it back in 1994. And then each of these scientists at all these different studies are all adding to that measurable data back then. And we're coming up with some really interesting things. And now the studies at the University of Virginia's neuroimaging lab, that's where they found out when I'm activating and doing the energy, my brain is operating on multiple levels of consciousness simultaneously. And they've never seen that in anybody anywhere in any of all the advanced EEG brain mapping studies they do through there, UVA or any of the universities.
now, what you're talking about is you have a resonance with all of the brain waves at the same time: delta, theta, alpha, beta. You've got them all going.
Yes, part of my brain's in alpha, another part's PK and in delta, another's PK and in beta, another's PK and in theta, all at the same time. They've never seen that in anybody. Always people are like either right brained, left brained, and one level of the brain, one section of the brain is doing alpha. But with me, it's all of them all the time, and it's moving around in there. And the spectral peak keeps shifting as they go along my head. It's amazing what they're getting out of the data there. And now we're started the electric field energy medicine studies where we're taking this measurable, producible energy and injecting it into people. And where we're seeing that the average person, which runs around 20 millivolts, and that's above DC, and then a sick person is normally 20 to 40 millivolts below DC. When we focus this energy on there, and now with Laura helping me, we're able to really fine tune it. We're able to bring the voltages up to around 3 volts DC in the persons that we focus on during the duration of the focus. And that increase in voltage causes the healing mechanisms in their bodies to start functioning radically fast.
And that's a big difference between you and other people who call themselves healers, is that you always say you bring the energy and the person uses it to heal themselves.
Correct.
So
there's no such thing as really a healer. God's a healer. That'd be it. We're humans down here. I can't heal you. You can't heal me, but I can generate a huge amount of this power, the same power that your body functions on, but I can generate up thousands of times more of it per second than the average body flows. And then when I share it with people, and then with Laura adding to it, when we share that with people, it increases the rate at which your healing mechanisms in your body function. People think I'm a healer because they go pain-free almost instantaneously, but it's their systems that actually kicked into gear and went to work.
well, that is fantastic. I know it works extremely well for you, whether you're
Gosh,
working with
yes.
people individually or in groups. So tell people about the groups that you do, because
Oh,
those are
yes.
easily
Yeah,
accessible for anybody in our audience.
Yes, and we're doing one tonight. Even going to do it on Facebook Live later at 8 p.m. Eastern. We do currently we do 4 Zoom rooms a week, Tuesday and Thursday evenings at 8 p.m., Saturday morning at 9 a.m., and Sunday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern. This is all Eastern time zone.
Mhm.
So we do these 4 different rooms. They run for 30, 45 minutes and or more each, and then we have our regular standard protocol that we go through for the first 20 minutes or 30 minutes, and then we go through a process where we teach people how to use their own hands or own body systems to take the energy we're projecting and apply it to different areas of their bodies. And everybody's getting fantastic results. They're feeling it and
That's
able to
great.
play with it.
Wonderful. That's
Yeah.
great.
Now, when people come to the groups, they can come with any particular complaint, ailment.
Anything. Remember, we're not healers. We're not healing anything. So we do the same kind of energy, whether you've got a toothache, broke bone, cancer, sore throat, anything, neuropathy, whatever. It's just turn the energy on, focus it toward the people, and your body knows what to do with the energy. It's just your body's not making or accessing the kind of energy we have access to. So we're just super powering you up, and then your systems automatically run. I mean,
That's great.
fast.
Yeah. I mean, the amount of photons also that you are able to produce is in the millions, as I recall.
Yes, but through all the research that we've been doing there, we found out that I'm getting a much better, longer duration effect by pulling it back down in the hundreds. Pulling
Really?
it back, yes, I pull it back down in the hundreds, and I'm getting a much better, longer duration and controlled pulses, and then I'm getting much better, faster healing success in people by not trying to just blast them real crazily.
Wow. Yeah, I'm
Isn't that
surprised.
something? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
evidently, because of me or what I'm doing, I'm like so much way on up yonder in the amount of energy I can bring up, but people's bodies can't handle as much as I'm able to produce sometimes. So
interesting. Huh.
I'm getting better effects by toning it down.
That's so interesting. I never
Amazing.
would have expected that. Yeah.
So we just save the high end energy for parlor tricks.
Yeah.
I can light you up.
Right. Yes, we love
Mhm.
those parlor tricks. That's great. So you're learning more also as they're learning about you. You're learning more about your own capabilities and managing them.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
fabulous.
They're learning and I'm learning, and so I'm using the instant feedback, the biofeedback that I get from them to intensify the effects that I'm able to generate in my brain. It's like my brain is in auto learn mode now, bringing in the feedback from their instrumentation.
Hmm.
And then the
Amazing.
results in the people are just getting astronomically better and better and better and better and better.
Now, as I recall, when you were here last time, you talked a lot about some of the stroke patients, and it seemed like, as I'm thinking about this, you always had a good amount of positive feedback from stroke patients. Is that true?
Yes, still
Really?
getting it. And the neuropathy has gotten really big too. I was featured as the alien brain on Ancient Aliens a
Yes.
couple 3 years ago, and so
Mhm.
I made the comment on the show that I'd gotten very successful at causing neuropathy to clear up in people, and so I guess I've seen probably 3 or 4,000 neuropathy people through our Zooms in the last since 2019, last 5 years.
Oh,
That's
that's fabulous.
Yeah.
Yes, and to be
It
able
works.
to cause neuropathy pain symptoms to ease off through a Zoom program, and it's just astronomical. People are just getting good results, and they just keep coming back. I mean, it's not
Fabulous.
totally knocking it out, and if they go several weeks without being with us, it starts coming back on them, so they come and get a booster ever so often.
I'll be darned.
This also works very well for pets.
Yes, a lot of pets. Come on,
I'll
Charlie.
be darned.
I always like to use my for neuropathy, my parents as a great case study. My mom is 84. She probably had about a 5-minute limitation on her feet. She was just
Wow.
very, very miserable before she started the Zooms, and now she's up, she's gardening, she joined yoga, she's out and about. And so to see it live on an 84-year-old with a lot of health issues, it's really astounding.
Definitely.
Great. So it really improves her quality of life. She's able to do so much more.
I mean, for, to want to be a little dark, she was literally looking to call hospice on herself. That's where she was at when she started with Ed, and now she's completely different.
That is great. That is
Yeah,
great.
she's active as could be. And they join us on our Zoom programs and all kinds of stuff.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, and neuropathy is well known for being very stubborn and hard to get rid of.
Very
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
But something about the electricity that we're able to generate is going into the nerves and causing the myelin sheath, which is the cause of the neuropathy, to start repairing radically fast.
Mhm.
So, especially when I'm hands-on on someone, I can literally make them feel like I'm an electric eel. It's what it feels like to people, or electric tinge unit. And when I run that into someone's nerves, like stroke patients with dead nerves or neuropathy is kind of like stroke. It's just a breakdown of the nervous wiring system. The stroke is just a short out in the brain, and the neuropathy is a breakdown of the insulation on the wiring or the nerves somewhere between the brain and the feet or toes or fingers. So
Yeah,
it's just a matter of putting the power back in there, and it self regenerates, self repairs.
And what about osteoporosis? How could you work with something like that?
Well, we just generate what we call the cocoon effect. Works really good, and we do that 2 or 3 times during our Zoom programs, where we encompass your whole body in this electrical field. It's like being inside a cocoon or inside a glass bubble or something that's just above your head and feet and below your feet and around your body. And so we just super concentrate the energy to give an equal flow to every part of your body. And it just gets in there and it causes the joints and everything to just limber up. It causes all the muscle tissue in around the areas to just loosen up. That allows the cardiovascular system to have an increased blood flow, and that helps out your joints and all those areas. And just all around, we just, increase the electricity and the blood flow in those areas, and your body heals.
What about, does it help to repair bone itself?
Again, yes, but it's your body that's doing the repair. So it's just speeding up all those processes. What we do is when we send this energy toward people, in a sense, we are charging up the mitochondria. The mitochondria is like the little batteries in every cell within your body. So we're charging up the power centers in there. When those centers get good and charged up, then your healing mechanisms have plenty of power to function with. And they can just go at it, and your respiratory and all your other cardiovascular systems, they just work at maximum efficiency, and your body just rapidly heals.
Good to know.
And not to use my parents as the second example, but that was ironic you brought that up. My dad is 87 years old. He has severe spinal stenosis and scoliosis. His head is stuck in a down position, all from up here. So again, same thing, been doing it with Ed since April. And while his head is still being pushed down, he now can lift it. He actually has mobility and he can move his head around much better, where before he really had none. And he would wake up in the middle of the night. He'd constantly be shifting positions, and now he sleeps through the night. So again, the power of Ed. Yeah.
Well, I've always known Ed's powerful. I just had to throw these extra things because they're not personal.
That's right. Well, you should join those groups, PK.
I'm going to have to.
Yeah. Yeah, we're doing all kind of miracles for people all over the planet.
I'll take a miracle.
Yeah,
for sure.
Laura, how many sessions did your dad need to do before he started to feel a result?
Let me see. They started in April, and they don't miss a session. They are on all 4 every week. And I'm gonna say it was somewhere near the end of May where he said that he realized when he was walking the dog that he could see the roofs of houses, and he, never had that before. He wasn't able
Mhm.
to get his head all the way up. So if you, 4 times, 8 kind of go that way. And then since then, at the end of every single session, Ed does a little spinal stenosis scoliosis stretching effect where he's literally lifting you up and out, and he goes right on up. And before, he could never do that. He just never had that. It
Fabulous.
was so locked. And,
Mhm.
now he has mobility. So I'm curious to see how much further he can go. Because like I said, his head is still getting pushed down. Is it finally going to start getting released some? So
Mhm.
to be determined.
Now, is there a cost? I would imagine you have to charge something for your time here.
Yeah, we charge a whole whopping $19.
Whoa. You are greedy, $19. Oh my
Yeah, I
God.
mean,
That is
I
such a
pitched a fit when
bargain.
she,
That's nothing.
My God.
That's a Starbucks.
yeah, but see, there's people all walks of life out there and all price ranges. So I'll just kind of
Mhm.
try to keep it open for everybody like that.
That's great.
Very
And we're
wonderful.
generous of you
and
guys.
since what we're doing works, the more the better. The larger amount of people, it compensates. It works out really good.
Mhm.
And the more people we get in there, it's like stacking those batteries up. We get a more powerful effect on everybody.
That's great.
Yes, it's affordable then. It really is.
Hmm.
Okay, PK, you got to sign up for this. You need it.
Not a doubt in my mind or in my bones.
Yes, you
Yeah,
both need it.
we can warm them bones right on up for you in just a few
Ooh.
minutes. And most people would tell you 20 minutes is all you really need exposed to us, and you are just humming.
Wow.
Well,
Yeah.
I could use a song or two. That's for sure.
Okay, well, we'll do a demonstration here in a minute or so, and I'll
Great.
just light
Good.
you up like a Christmas turkey.
I promise I won't gobble.
Okay.
No, this is wonderful. And then, Laura, when you and I were talking earlier today, you mentioned that there is a healing institute that you guys are going to become a part of. Where is that located?
That would be, I'm gonna let Ed answer that because Ed knows more with that. That's with Anna.
You talking about the work with Anna?
Yeah.
Okay. We're working with Dr. Anna Newsom. And Anna met up and heard about me back about a year and a half or so better ago. And Anna's in psychiatrics at the University of Yale. And so she's so thrilled with everything, with what I can do and speed and increase in the recovery rate of people. She's working with the administrator of research at Yale in the mental health and spirituality department to set up a brand new energy medicine research department to work with me and then other well-known or so that's actually doing stuff. So we'll work hand in hand with doctors to speed up the recovery rate of their patients. Anna's been sending
Fabulous.
cancer patients and tumor patients to me on a regular basis, and the tumors on all the people have been working on are shrinking. It's just a matter of running this electricity through their body, and it causes the tumors to kind of go into reverse. So instead of growing, they're shrinking now, and almost I think in everybody that we've worked on so far.
That's terrific.
That is marvelous. Absolutely marvelous.
Now, what did they find? Because I know one of your most recent studies involved the MONROE Institute. What did they find? Because I have it right here, but I haven't had a chance to read through the whole thing.
Well, yeah, they found that when I focus on someone, their electrical voltages in their bodies go up. Because the average person, average people that are in there are running around 20 millivolts if they're healthy. 20 millivolts. That's real minuscule. That's just above DC, but it's positive.
Right.
Okay, when I focus on them, or if I get a hold of people that are sick and their voltages are under, it brings their electrical voltages up in their bodies while I'm focused on them up to around 2.84 volts. So that's what we're finding is when we focus on, and this is like from 20 feet away to over Zoom.
Oh my
Don't have to
goodness.
be there in the lab to increase the electrical voltages in people when I look at them and focus on them.
And what they say here is interesting. The participants reported feeling like a capacitor
Yes.
being charged and then discharged with an overall sense of feeling energized. In the solo part of the session before Ed arrived, the electric field was stable with possibly some small excursions, but nothing like the big move that appeared later during the Ed session. It was quite the experience to see the field level drop off the second Ed stopped his energy intention. And we intend to explore DMLS effects in future work with Ed. So obviously, they were very impressed with the results from
Yes.
all of this. It's
And we have started that future work. We're in the process. Ross
Wonderful.
is lining everything up. In fact, I think in the next 2 weeks we start on live subjects. And that's going to be remotely. It's going to be putting a live subject wired up in the copper wall array lab at the MONROE Institute there, and me being here in New York City or wherever we're at and
Wow.
focusing on them under controlled situations. In other words, they won't even have us online. They'll get all the baseline data on everybody, and then they'll get us online and they'll hold us for a couple of minutes to get a baseline, and then they'll say focus. And when we start focusing, they'll watch the electrical voltages increase in the subjects.
That's great.
Amazing.
Yeah. Well,
So
and I'm sure they appreciate it because, again, you can consistently do the same thing over and over again, which is extremely rare in the field of paranormal. I mean, super rare. I don't know if anybody understands how rare this is.
Well, shall we give them a demonstration?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Are y'all in a position you can stand up? And I'm going to try to, for us to stand up. It's a little, I can create a stronger flow. You can sit in your chair. You'll be fine. Just sit there and you'll feel this.
All right.
So if everybody out there in the audience, and this covers everybody in the future, you know, that's the neat thing about what we do. This energy will embed in this video. So stand up and stand very still. And so we're activating it here. So just see what you feel in your bodies.
Yeah,
I try not to give power suggestion, but you should be feeling something there in your hands by now. Okay, and then we're starting to set up what we call electrical gravity waves. So by holding one polarity like I'm holding now, that's a DC negative, this should be having a slight pull forwards on you and everybody up there in the future. So this should be pulling everybody forwards right now.
Yes, it is.
Okay, now we'll go to neutral. We're reversing the electrical polarity and repelling or pushing. So right there, that's a DC positive. So that should be giving everybody a gentle push backwards. Now we'll reverse it again and pull forwards one more time. And I'll crank the electricity up now. Is that warming up that osteoporosis?
It is definitely. Feel it right into the palm of my hands. Like,
It'll get in there and loosen that right on up. And remember, I'm not healing nothing. I'm just running this electrical current through you.
Can I keep it after you're gone?
Yeah. Just keep it flowing. Keep focusing on it. It'll keep flowing. All righty. That's got a good pull. So we're let off of it. So that's just a quick little demonstration. And so we do a whole half hour of that or whatever when we do our Zoom programs. And we'll just do all kinds of things in there. And that just tunes people up, makes them feel really, really good and all.
It's the first time I've ever felt, Ed, when we've done this, in my cheeks and around my mouth and into the nose area, all the way up. I've never had it like that before.
Mm,
Does Laura that way?
Oh, okay. Amazing.
Yeah, it gets right in there.
very
Mhm.
powerful.
Definitely.
So, Laura, when you went to the Monroe Institute, and they tested you, what did you think when they said we found X, Y, and Z? Were you surprised by their findings on what you could do?
I was well at that point. I was probably. I did not think Ed was going to bring me to such an amazing place unless he was positive that there would be a measurement. So the whole experience has been surreal and just really interesting. So yeah, totally surprised, but I was still on a surprise from prior. And working with Ed is it's been an amazing ride. Because what
That's
I'm also
imagine.
finding out is I like to do my own research. I always feel like I'm a researcher, not a med spa owner, because you kind of have to be one. After meeting Ed, of course, I had to run out and try other people, other healers, to see what they were about, and I couldn't find anybody that even compared, not even close. And I always say, Ed is the anomaly amongst the anomalies.
Mhm.
Definitely.
Yes.
Not a
Yes.
doubt.
Yes, exactly. And you have some wonderful, wonderful stories that you've told us in the past. And one of them that I always want you to repeat is the story about what happened on Coast to Coast when George Norrie was interviewing you and there
Yeah,
was a hurricane.
yeah,
And
there was a big hurricane, wasn't there?
right, pick it up from there.
Yeah, I was on there with George Norrie late night, and there's some big hurricane getting ready to hit. What was it, Baja or something down in there?
Florida. Yeah, it's
Well,
Florida.
somewhere, and it was coming in really hard, hot, and heavy. And George says, "Well, can you do anything with a storm?" I said, "Well, I can focus on it. I'm not promising anything, but I focused my energy on it." He went to a commercial break, and during that commercial break, the hurricane dropped like 3 categories or so,
Oh my goodness.
real fast. I mean, it
Wait,
just went blue.
yeah, it was incredible. I know George was absolutely blown away. He
Hmm.
didn't expect that, and it was a wonderful, show of what happens when you know how to use this photon energy, which is
Yeah.
great. But just to be clear with everybody out there, where you produce millions of photons, even though you've learned to back it down, you get a better result with healings. Um, most of us can't produce anywhere near that amount. What are we producing? Like us regular people,
Mm.
we're
According
producing
to
100.
according to John at the Ryan Research Center, anywhere from between 50 and 20 photons per half second.
Okay,
Mhm.
so that's
And
like nothing.
there's something about when I turn on all my brain power, all this brain power, utilizing all that action is causing my cells to emit light.
And
That's
it's in the
where the
millions.
To put that in a mathematical term, he measures 3,500 times the average person.
Wow, thank
Oh my
you.
goodness.
yeah. I've been sparkling ever since a little bitty kid.
You're just a sparkler, huh?
That's it. Yeah, it's the measurable energy, Dr. Levingood, and this was like after 2 years of him studying me there at the lab in Michigan. Uh, and he was studying Reiki and hands-on heal and everything. And I was like 40 times more greater in electrical output than anybody he had ever measured in any of the other modalities, Reiki, hands-on, or anything. The only thing that came anywhere in resemblance of what I'm at was a Tibetan monk working with the Dalai Lama, that because the Dalai Lama did some of the funding for the research there. And one of his monks there was able to produce repeatedly about 98,000 microamps,
Hmm.
which is high, very high. And that was the most he'd ever seen until I come along. But the first time I walked in the lab and got hooked up, and you can see the videos on my YouTube channel, I punched it out at 440,000 microamps the
My
first
God.
time.
Oh,
Wow.
And
Amazing.
after 2 years, it's when I was able to go on up around 2 million.
Gosh,
Mhm.
incredible. Now, your grandmother was the one who really helped you hold on to this gift and not let anybody program you so that it would be
Mhm.
taken away. Because that's, I've heard you describe, that's what happens to kids.
Yeah.
They get
Yes,
it
it's the
taken away.
religion and education, or more so in the religion, is designed to condition this out of you. The way to break these abilities in people, and that was their whole mission. They couldn't have everybody running around doing what I'm doing. They had to break people of this, and the only way to break them of it was to break it in the children, not let them play with their energies. And it's by telling them that they were playing with the devil and they were imagining things and all these different things, they shut the kids down. And once you shut the kids down, that's like turning off this generator up here that causes all the
Right.
other levels of consciousness to activate. So when you shut the kids down, you forced them into living a life of only one level of consciousness at a time.
So you become a slave, which is
Yes, you're a
basically what
slave
you're
of the system.
supposed to be. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. So here you're offering much more than just being able to generate your own healing. You're also
Hmm.
offering a whole level of freedom for everybody that's
I think
interested.
on one of my Zoom programs here in the near future, Laura's wanting to invite in all these other guests and have them around. But I've got 5 or 6 guests standing right behind me here, and we're going to do a program on resonating energy with plants. It
Ah,
is an
oh,
amazing
yeah.
effect there that you can have with this energy with plants. So they're going to be one of my
Any
guests.
any particular plants or
No, no,
any
just
plant?
any of them, any plants. They love this energy. And
I'll be darned.
they'll give energy back once you get them started singing.
That's
I
great.
I
And
always think back to the first time that we met when you were talking about when you were a youngster in church.
that prepared me for today. All those mischievous
Well,
things I did as a kid was just preparation for what I can do today.
well,
Yeah.
tell us a few stories about that. I know the audience who hasn't heard these before will love to hear them now.
Okay. I get I get kind of contradicted there for giving that story, but I was sitting in church. I was about 6 years old, and I was already playing with the energy since I was 3. And I'd learned how to reverse that electrical polarity, where I changed the directions, where it made you push forward or pull backwards. And I was up in the balcony where the kids played and hung out at and watched the main church service. And I don't know why I did it, but our preacher always had prayer at 11:30, and right when he started praying this one Sunday, I just started pulling backwards on everybody. I wasn't sure what was going to happen. And I was just pulling it, and my intuition was just like in giggly mode. And so I just stayed with it and I kept pulling. And then the preacher went into silent prayer, and my intuition just said, let go of it, turn it off, go neutral, then reverse it, push and squeeze, push and project it, squeeze and push. Didn't know what was going to happen. About 20 seconds later, I found out what would happen. People started expelling gas downstairs, and it made a sound. And that was the funniest thing for a 6-year-old there, knowing that he did it. So I practiced that religiously for 7 years every Sunday.
I love it. That's great. And
That's
nobody
just
knew you were doing it, so you could get
no.
away with it.
Well, Grandma started suspecting it there.
Oh,
She was in the choir sitting down there, and she knew I was getting pretty strong with the energy.
Mhm.
did she ever tell you to knock it off?
No, no, no. I mean, she always encouraged me to play with it. She said, just always play with it. Don't let the churches tell you you're playing with something that's not real, because it is
Mhm.
real. And she
God,
just kept
Yeah.
reinforcing it in me.
really?
And
What a
once I
great.
hit about 7 or 8 years of age, I was locked in, gone with it. There was no beating it out of me thereon.
Yeah,
That's
that's right. Of
fabulous.
course.
Just incredible.
Yes.
Mhm.
And then you have also had an unusual experience with some ETs who you didn't realize were ETs.
Well, yeah, that was kind of how I learned how to flip the polarity. It was about 2 weeks before I did the thing in church there because they inspired it. We was out to eat, mom and dad, and at this little restaurant out in the country there that their friends from school owned, and their parents of that place owned a car lot next door. It's kind of a little family operation. So every Wednesday night we always went out there, and when we get done eating, I always like to go out and play in the old cars and stuff because they left them open. You could blow the horns, and accidentally cranked one time and a couple things. But I'd go over there and play in them. And this one night I went over that way and I seen this pulsating orange glow in the back. And I thought it was just fire burning. And I went through some cars and went back there, and no, it was a funny looking giant propane gas tank looking thing that was glowing orange and pulsating. I watched that, and then all of a sudden, out of the corner of my eye, there was these four funny looking, looked like kids, a little bit bigger than me and everything. They all kind of strange looking, but see, back then I was already exposed to strange looking kids. My mom worked for the hospital there in the health department. We would have to go out to the backwoods to some of them inbred Appalachian people's houses, and boy, them kids looked really weird back in there. And so when I saw these out here, I just thought that was just some of their kinfolk or something. And I didn't have no idea they were aliens or whatever. And I didn't even know there's aliens until I was like up there working with Dr. Levingood. After I kept explaining things to him and stuff, but because they just looked like them inbred Appalachian people. But then I could hear them in my head, and then they could start playing with the energy, and they pulled and pushed me a few times mentally with the energy until I was able to mentally push and pull them. And we just sat there and played with it for about 15 minutes. And then mom and dad hollered, "Let's go." And I just kind of looked up and said, "I got to go." We were just friendly and hugged each other, and I left. And as we were driving out, going back toward town, all of a sudden there was this flash of orange light, and that orange propane tank shot straight up in the air and went out across us like a bat out of heck. My dad goes, "There goes a meteor." And so that was my experience with aliens. Of course, I just thought it was just some Appalachian people, a funny looking car.
That's hilarious. Now, and I bet they thought that you were on their level. I mean, they really did treat you
They put so many images in my head that are still coming to pass, like deja vu stuff. I mean, they literally downloaded hundreds of thousands of pictures, and I flash them up every day or so. I'll see one will flop up, and then boom, I'll run into it or see it.
Interesting.
So they kind of give me a tour of my future in a sense.
Yeah.
And there's some crazy stuff coming.
Yeah. Worse than we've seen so far.
Oh, much worse, much worse. This methane problem, the media and everything, they're keeping you so tied up in politics. They want to keep your brains glued onto the politics and the things that's going on to keep you from knowing what's really happening. And we got a process here happening right now. The sky could catch on fire from all the methane gas that's up there in it. And the scientists are worried about an earthbound X-class flare igniting it.
Wow.
So everybody's wanting you to talk about politics and get you off on conspiracy theories and this and that, so you won't even know what the science is doing. That's why they're trying to shut the science down. They want everybody to go to the very last minute and then kaboom, So as long as everybody is talking about politics and all this other stuff, ain't got a clue what's really happening.
Well, it looks like the poison's coming from all sides, and that is very frightening.
Well, the methane is coming out of the thawing tundra and out of the thawing glaciers, 100,000 times greater than the pig farms and gas production wells are doing.
Yep.
So we're in a mess right now.
We have been, yeah. Oh gosh. Okay. Well, I won't be sleeping tonight.
There you go.
Get a gas mask, that won't work either.
Well, I've already started buying used oxygen concentrators. So if it burns out, see, in the Bible when we were kids, that's the only thing that made sense, and it didn't make sense as a kid when they talked about in the end days how the sky would burn. I never could figure out how the sky would burn. Well, now with all that methane gas going up there and up in the upper atmosphere, it's been collecting for all these years, it could catch on fire and literally burn.
Wow.
and it'll burn until it chokes out of the oxygen. And it
God.
happened
Which means the end of
257. Yeah, it happened
Mhm.
257 million years ago. They've got all the data and they showed how it happened with the methane gas buildup. But it took 300 years back then. Now they've got methane buildup in 30 years that outweighs that from
wow.
our global warming effect.
Well, let's hope that we can all learn to generate enough good energy to try to make it.
Hmm.
I'd like
Because
to think so. I'd like to think so.
I know it. I know it. So again, I want to encourage everybody who's interested to go visit Ed and Laura. And now, which site should they go to? Is it ededwards.com?
Yes, go to ededwards.com, and that's where you'll find out all the information kind of going on. And I finally learned how to operate that thing to build the site. So I'm compiling all the research data into the site right now over the last week and this next few weeks here. And I've literally got many hundreds of pictures from the Ryan Research Center to UVA to the MONROE Institute, from all our different research projects we've been on over all these years. So I'm compiling
That's
all that
fabulous.
together on my website. So it's just going to be growing like crazy over the next few days and weeks.
And people can go to your website and sign up for the Zoom
Correct.
offerings you're doing.
That's
And
wonderful.
there's a way to pay you through
Yes,
PayPal.
you go to
How-
Zoom, go to my website. There's a button there that says Zoom Healing Rooms. Click it, and then that lists all the different rooms we have. Like I say, they're $19. You just pick the one that you want to come to, click it, make
Mhm.
the arrangements through it. It'll send you an email with a link in it, just like your system does right here, except in Zoom. And so 15 minutes before the program starts, click the link, come on in, listen to the music, and relax.
Oh, it sounds wonderful.
Yes.
I will
it's-
certainly be there.
And we
My
also
body
have
needs you.
packages. And tonight, for anybody that's available on Facebook, we're doing a full session at 8 p.m. And for those of you who can't make it, there will be a code on Ed's site tomorrow. For your listeners, just use super all capitals, and that will give you your first one complimentary to try.
How
Okay.
nice. Thank
Very
you. Thank you for your
Very nice
generosity.
indeed. That's sweet.
Yes, thank you. And so for people tonight, you're going to be on Facebook Live at 8 o'clock. So that'll be a little over an hour from now. And
Mhm.
is there a charge for that one, or that's an introductory one?
Nope, that one, Facebook Live, is that anybody can sign on. You just
Okay.
go to Ed Edwards, 2Ds, go to his page, and you'll see us go live, and just click on it, and you are automatically in.
Great.
Okay. That has your name all over it, PK.
It certainly does. It certainly
So
does.
Tuesday night is we call that one open mic. That one is we do the normal healing session from 8 to 8:30, which is plenty for anyone. But for those who want to stay on, we do by request, just to do a little bit of concentrated extra in certain areas. So that's
Mhm.
going to be Tuesdays at 8, Saturdays at 9. We have that. Thursday is our next popular one. That is Heal Yourself. That's the one where we have the cameras on and we
Mhm.
show you the hand movements to use on yourself. And then on Sunday, that one's at 7 p.m. And that one we call group therapy. And that one is Ed teaching his mannequin method of how to direct energy. So we do, again, the same normal session from 8 to 8:30, or no, 7 to 7:30. And then you join us in.
Great. Well, thank you both.
That's
This has been
fabulous.
wonderful. Unfortunately, we've run out of time and we're going to have to end the show, but we welcome you back.
Got to have you back sooner than later.
Yeah, we're
That's
here.
right.
For sure.
Reach out for us. We'll be around. Enjoyed it, y'all.
Thank you so much. And we'll be back
Thank
next
you
week
both.
with
Mhm.
another great show. Until then, we'll see you on the Blue Highway. Good night, everyone.
Good night.